Caleb lowered the standard-issue police baton, draining half a bottle of water. He was on traffic duty, and in 30 minutes, he joined the patrol unit for their rounds. A citywide crackdown on DUIs had been initiated, deploying over 1,000 officers. On top of that, with final exams approaching, they were ensuring students got to their testing centers without issue. Even the local elementary schools had let out early. Thinking of the school reminded Caleb of last weekend. He had seen Julian's car again, picking up his little sister, Lily. Julian had deliberately taken a route that passed by Caleb's post. Inside the car, 2 pairs of eyes had stared out at him expectantly. Lily, a smear of pink from a cotton candy cone on her forehead, had slowly mouthed his name. Julian, from the driver's seat, had grinned and mockingly echoed her. A gesture so sweet it made Caleb's chest ache. Today, Julian had left his auto shop early, waiting at the intersection since late afternoon. He had parked his car perfectly within the lines, the air conditioning blasting, a cool refuge waiting for Caleb's break. It would only be for a few minutes. Caleb felt the refreshing air from a small, portable fan Julian had picked up from a tourist shop, the breeze a welcome relief from the oppressive summer heat. He turned his head and saw Julian fiddling with the car's sound system, who then suggested they could have a little rave right there in the car. While Julian was distracted, Caleb leaned close and whispered something in his ear. Julian couldn't quite hear it over the low thrum of the engine and asked him to repeat himself. The next second, Caleb pressed a light kiss to his cheek and asked with a smile if he understood now. A blush spread across Julian's face as he admitted that he did. Caleb then called him by a soft nickname. Julian, taken aback, pointed a finger at Caleb and, with a playfully imperious tilt of his chin, instructed him to use his proper title. He declared them a gritty garage band duo, the kind whose music needed a heavy remix, and questioned why Caleb was suddenly asking about such things. Caleb said nothing. He simply took Julian's left hand and, one by one, pressed 5 kisses over the intricate tattoo that wrapped around the base of his fingers. Julian's eyes shone as he pointed to his own lips, indicating one was still missing. Caleb laughed and told him to come and get it himself. Julian flipped down the sun visor, using it as leverage to pull Caleb in by the back of the neck, their lips meeting in a fierce, hungry kiss. They were lost in the moment for a while before Caleb checked the time. He was about to get out of the car when a sharp rap sounded against the window. It was Martinez, a younger officer from his unit. Caleb gently patted Julian's cheek and stepped out of the vehicle, asking Martinez what the matter was. Martinez, aware of who was inside, blushed furiously. He stammered that Captain Caleb needed to see something. Julian, seeing the young officer's red face, felt a prickle of possessiveness and sat up straighter to observe. Martinez explained that they had just pulled over a truck with a license plate flipper. The vehicle had approached the checkpoint with no plate visible, but as soon as they'd flagged it, a license plate had magically appeared. He added excitedly that a quick check had led them to several more vehicles in a suspected smuggling ring. The plate flipper was a common trick among some long-haul drivers, but it was the first time their precinct had encountered one so brazenly. Caleb decided he had to see it. As he started to walk away, Julian quickly got out of the car, following him to the inspection point. A group of officers was gathered around the strange device. The modification was crude, the screws loose, as if the plate could fall off at any moment. A hidden retractable mechanism was connected to a button under the driver's dashboard, allowing the driver to flip the plate and evade traffic cameras. It was a clever system, but one careless move had gotten him caught red-handed. While Martinez was writing up the ticket, body cam recording the entire process, Caleb felt a sudden unease. The streets were too quiet for a Friday afternoon. He switched off the flashing red and blue lights on his shoulder and asked Martinez where Officers Hayes and Miller were. Martinez reported that they were at the next intersection responding to a reported fender bender. He confessed he was also puzzled by the lack of traffic. Just then, Officer Hayes' voice crackled through the police radio in a frantic shout. The line filled with the sound of running footsteps. Martinez immediately tensed, asking what was wrong. The radio seemed to have been snatched from her. Caleb adjusted his earpiece as he headed for his motorcycle and heard Officer Miller's strained voice come through. Miller reported 3 individuals engaged in an armed assault with civilian injuries. The crowd of onlookers and heavy traffic was hampering their response. Hayes could be heard in the background, trying to disperse the crowd. Hayes had managed to subdue one suspect, but the other 2, armed with a knife and a steel pipe, charged into the crowd. Miller rushed to intervene but was struck with the pipe and fell to the ground. The crowd's panic screams grew louder. A few brave bystanders had started to move forward but froze upon seeing the weapons. As Hayes and Miller struggled to contain the situation, Hayes saw one of the suspects dart into the street. He wrenched open the door of a slow-moving white sedan and violently dragged the driver out onto the pavement. Hayes sprinted over to help the driver as onlookers called for an ambulance. The hijacked sedan sped away, weaving erratically down the one-way street, its engine roaring. Miller, scrambling to his feet, yelled at Hayes to contact the 110 command center and tell Caleb's team to intercept the car at the next checkpoint. As Miller relayed the information over the radio that the suspect was armed, he was cut off by a deafening crash that echoed through his earpiece. The stolen car had slammed into the police cruiser, blocking the intersection where Caleb's team was stationed. The driver then swerved violently, the rear of the car smashing into a guardrail. The trunk was crumpled, the door warped, and the windshield was a spiderweb of cracks. Caleb was the first to react, drawing his extendable baton and sprinting towards the wreck. When he heard Julian call his name, a wave of fear shot through him. He turned, holding the baton in a defensive stance, and ordered Julian to stay back, assuring him Martinez had his back. Before Julian could process the command, the hijacked car lurched forward again, crashing into a parked minivan. The minivan's sunroof was open, and from within came the piercing cry of a small child. Julian's eyes widened in horror. There was a child in there. He ran towards the minivan without a second thought. Martinez, seeing his intent, threw him a spare baton. Julian caught it, flicked it open to its full length, and smashed the van's window. Inside, a toddler, no older than 2, was strapped into a car seat, screaming in terror. Martinez surmised that a parent must have abandoned the child upon seeing the police checkpoint. He carefully lifted the child out and was about to hand him to a woman in the crowd when the hijacked car's engine roared to life again. Martinez, a burly man, lunged for the car, gripping the open passenger side window frame as the vehicle began to move. Julian yelled for Martinez to get back, smashing the driver's side window with his baton. Martinez, clinging to the moving car, shouted back for Julian to get to safety and let them handle it. Julian ignored him. He was a member of the 4th Precinct too in his own way. Caleb, who had been circling around the back of the wreck, hadn't seen this part of the drama unfold. Deciding to use his motorcycle to cut the car off, he turned back for a split second. In that instant, he saw Julian launch a powerful kick against the car door and then yank at the handle. The fleeing driver, in his haste, hadn't locked it. The door swung open. Martinez was now being dragged along, his body pressed against the hood of another car, gasping for air and shouting "A." As the word left Martinez's lips, Julian felt a powerful hand clamp around his neck. An immense force dragged him headfirst into the driver's compartment. His body was half in, half out of the car, being dragged along as the vehicle scraped to a halt. Darkness exploded behind his eyes. A dull, concussive pain radiated through his skull, followed by a high-pitched ringing in his ears. He felt the first impact, then a second, a third, and a fourth. Julian. It was the first time he had ever heard such a raw, uncontrolled roar from Caleb. The wail of approaching sirens grew louder, mixed with Martinez's frantic shouts to pull him out. The attacker's blows were strange, a mix of heavy and light punches, as if delivered in a confused frenzy. Julian, dazed and overwhelmed by the assault, could only try to shield his face with his left arm, his mind completely blank. The pain was excruciating. He struggled to break free but was held fast, a cold sweat breaking out on his forehead. The baton was wedged between his body and the car frame, useless. He could feel hands grabbing him from behind, pulling him back, but the driver still had a merciless grip on his head. Suddenly, a baton sliced through the air with a whistling sound, followed by a grunt from above him. The hand on his head went slack. Julian, gasping for air, tried to pull himself up, but his legs wouldn't cooperate. He wiped at the blood on his face, unsure if it was his or someone else's, and stumbled backward into a familiar, strong embrace. He was instantly pulled behind a protective body, and he heard Martinez shouting, "Captain, don't. We've got him. We need to get the injured to the hospital. You'll kill him." Seeing Caleb's unrelenting fury, Martinez grabbed his arm and yelled his name again. "Come here." Julian's head was spinning. He heard his own breathing, shallow and faint. His eye, which had been slammed against the window frame repeatedly, was already swelling shut. He realized the arms holding him belonged to Caleb. "Look at me," Caleb's voice was barely a whisper. "Where else does it hurt?" Julian suddenly remembered a time he'd been detained, and an unexpected wave of emotion washed over him. He wanted to cry, but the pain in his eye was a tearing agony. He wrapped his arms around Caleb's familiar waist just as a fresh wave of blinding pain from his head overwhelmed him, and he sank into unconsciousness. The entire incident lasted no more than 10 minutes. By the time backup and paramedics arrived, the crowd had begun to disperse. People, seeing Julian out of uniform, assumed he was a civilian hero. Phones were still recording as he was loaded into the ambulance. With a police escort, the ambulance, already carrying another person injured in the initial brawl, raced to City General Hospital. Upon arrival, Julian was immediately wheeled away for tests. Caleb, as a police officer and not family, was barred from the emergency room. That role was filled by Victoria Thorne. She had just returned from a business trip to the capital. Her driver had rushed her directly from the airport, but by the time she arrived, Julian was already in a private examination room. Victoria saw Caleb standing in the hallway. She paused for a moment, then turned her head, her gaze sharp and appraising as it swept over him. Caleb started to address her by name but stopped himself, lowering his head and saying respectfully, "Ma'am, my condolences for what happened." Victoria gave a curt nod, her eyes lingering on the young officer before her. He was covered in scrapes and blood, his uniform wrinkled and torn. Yet instead of dealing with official matters, he was standing vigil outside her son's room. A phone buzzed. Caleb nodded to Victoria and walked a few steps down the adjacent corridor. He pulled his phone from his belt, wiped a bead of sweat from his brow, and answered. It was Alex. His voice was urgent, telling Caleb to get home immediately. An order had come down. All personnel transferred back last year were to report to Fort Westwood for a 2-week intensive training exercise. The commissioner himself had approved the list, and Caleb's name was on it. It was a huge opportunity. Caleb was stunned. The training involved a grueling, multi-hundred-mile trek back to the base. Fort Westwood was an hour away by plane, a vast expanse of desert and mountains to the northwest. He knew what that kind of march entailed: days of rations and tens of thousands of steps over harsh terrain. He had endured it before, but not now. He couldn't leave Julian alone in a hospital bed. He clenched his jaw and replied calmly, telling Alex about the incident, explaining that Julian was in the hospital because of him. His knuckles were white as he spoke, his voice slow and deliberate. He couldn't go. Alex's tone turned serious. He reminded Caleb that this wasn't a request he could refuse. A soldier's duty came first. Orders were orders. In the sweltering summer afternoon, a potted plant sat on the windowsill of a room in City General Hospital. On the white wall beside it, a child had scrawled in chalk, "Tastes gross." Another hand had added below it, "No, it's yummy." Julian lay on the bed, his eyes half open. He'd been awake for a while, staring at the plant, his stomach growling. One side of his face was covered in gauze, and the eye beneath it throbbed whenever he tried to open it. He imagined he must look like a one-eyed monster. Where was Caleb? He was facing the window, curled on his side. No one had noticed he was awake yet. "You get out of here. Don't you start with me. I swear to God today I'm gonna..." That was Liam's voice. "Calm down, Noah." "Liam, he just woke up. Why are you trying to provoke him? Besides, isn't it better to wait for that scumbag to come back and confess himself? You go in there and drop this on Julian now, he'll get worked up, jump out of bed, and throttle you. Then Noah will be a widower." That was Owen. "What scumbag? This isn't about being a scumbag or not. You, of all people, calling someone else a scumbag?" Mason, ever the mediator, cut in. "Hey, let's talk this out. Why jump to personal attacks? What if there's more to the story?" Julian heard Liam again. "Bullshit. Last time at my place, Julian was telling me Caleb makes, $3 grand a month? Busting his ass, getting hurt, needing subsidies to get by. $3 grand. That's Julian's coffee budget for a day." I told Julian it was a bad match, that they were from different worlds. But he said it didn't matter, that Caleb was amazing, incredible, and he was going to love him with everything he had. And what happens? It was all a damn lie. Just calm down. Mason tried again. Julian's head ached, but he held his breath, not daring to move. He needed to hear what had happened while he was unconscious. Caleb was gone, his mother was gone, and his best friends were holding a crisis meeting outside his door. He quietly swung his legs out of bed, slipped on his shoes, and grabbed a ballpoint pen from the nightstand. Next to the chalked words on the wall, he added, "Stir-fried is better." Then he threw the pen to the floor with a clatter. The door flew open. Mason was the first one shoved inside, stumbling. He straightened up, a forced smile spreading across his face. "Jules, my man, you're awake." "Julian." Liam charged in, nearly tripping over Mason. "I have to tell you." His words were cut off as Noah clamped a hand over his mouth and pulled him into an embrace. "We're in a hospital. Lower your voice." Liam struggled, his voice muffled. "Julian, I'm telling you, that photo of you being a hero was awesome. You went in there with the baton, a few moves, wham, bam. Your mom was so worried but also so proud. She told us to tell you not to be so reckless next time." Owen popped up from behind Liam. "Right, and Victoria said she had to go to a meeting but she'll be back later. She's been here taking care of you for days." Liam looked like he was about to explode. He glared at Julian, shoved his friends aside, and insisted that he had to tell him this. Mason quickly interjected that the whole thing was on the news, calling Julian the city's handsomest Good Samaritan, but adding that it was incredibly dangerous. He noted Julian had been out for 2.5 days with just a concussion. He was just a heavy sleeper. Liam swatted Mason away again. Caleb Owen made a final, desperate attempt. The road outside the hospital is blocked. The traffic was insane getting here. Mason nodded vigorously. Yeah, so congested. Julian was in a 2-bedroom, but the other bed was empty. Liam, past caring, clenched his fists and roared, "Everybody shut up." Instantly, Owen and Mason turned pleading eyes to Noah. "Do something, man." Noah, however, seemed to have a plan. He calmly patted Liam's shoulder and said that he believed Julian had a right to know. With that, he stepped back, giving Liam the floor. Owen and Mason retreated as well, fearing Liam might kick them out into the hallway. Ethan, who had been quiet until now, couldn't watch anymore. He'd seen the files at the district office a few days ago and had been the first to piece it together. The traffic cop, Caleb Hayes, who had transferred from out of state last year, was ex-military. He'd left active duty after a severe injury. His records were heavily redacted, but the fact that he was part of this special training exercise at Fort Westwood, alongside a few other law enforcement officers, was highly unusual. You couldn't be both military and police, but Caleb was temporarily returning to the military, which meant it was serious. This had piqued Ethan's interest. The day Caleb left the hospital, it was his own unit's communications tech, a man named Miller, who had driven him and handed him off to his superior. That superior was a man Ethan had seen several times at citywide conferences. Commissioner Grant. Caleb's file was scrubbed, but Miller's wasn't. Ethan dug deeper and found that Miller was a high-ranking technical officer. The name, the age, the remote address, the suspicious people around him, Ethan had a sinking feeling he knew the truth. And he'd always thought Caleb looked familiar. "This is still just a theory," Ethan finally said. "For certain reasons, I can't dig any deeper. The best thing to do is for you to ask him yourself." Julian clutched the corner of the blanket, trying to hide his trembling hands. He forced a laugh. "What is it? Did he cheat on me? With who? I'll tear them a new one." No, Liam couldn't bring himself to say it. Julian's hand tightened, his heart pounding. "Don't tell me he beat that driver to death and he's waiting for a trial?" "Not that either," Owen said. "He's secretly married with kids?" "He knocked someone up." Liam rolled his eyes. "Seriously, can you think of something else?" "Okay." Julian sat limply on the bed. "So what is it? What could make the four of you lose your minds like this?" For him, waking up and not seeing Caleb was painful enough. His gaze settled on Liam. "What happened to Caleb?" "Liam, just say it." Ethan decided the guessing game had gone on long enough. Caleb might be Commissioner Grant's son. Commissioner Grant, the head of the city's police department? Julian felt something inside him shatter. He remembered people saying that love is different at different ages. 5 years ago, he might have dragged Caleb to a basketball court to work up a sweat, then driven to the mountains before dawn just to see a legendary sunrise. If someone asked him now if he still wanted to see that sunrise, Julian would say yes. In his short life, he had always been an idealist, fighting for everything he believed could be his. But now, he couldn't separate the names Grant and Thorne in his mind. Julian said, his voice small. "But that's just a possibility, right?" He knew he was panicking. Red marks were already forming on his palms where his nails had dug in. "He lied to you." Liam stepped closer to the bed. His being a traffic cop was a means to an end. Your father's accident was huge news. There's no way he didn't know. That year, didn't you go to his hometown? Who was that man who stopped you at the gate? Caleb is the eldest son. He had to have known. The barrage of words stunned Julian. That year, in the middle of a torrential downpour during the holidays, who had stopped him? It was a family holiday, lanterns hanging everywhere. A man of Commissioner Grant's rank wouldn't have a security detail on a family vacation, and hiring bodyguards seemed unlikely. So why were the lights off? Why was someone hiding in the shadows by the gate in a storm? Julian vividly remembered the feeling of a hand clamping over his mouth, silencing him. It was the exact same way Caleb held him in bed. That year, he had been restrained by someone much stronger than him, hot breath mixing with cold rain against his ear. The hatred and confusion from that night had faded with time. But what about the voice? He couldn't remember the man's voice. But he did remember that sometimes, when he kissed the side of Caleb's neck, he would feel a small, raised bump, like an old scar. Whenever he kissed below his jaw, Caleb would always tell him not to leave a mark, that it was sensitive. The summer sun filtered through the trees, casting pale green shadows on the windowsill. Julian raised his hand and rubbed at the red marks in his palm. "Ethan, tell me everything." Ethan explained that Caleb had taken a medical discharge from the military, passed the civil service exam, and transferred to the city as a traffic cop. But the military still had jurisdiction over him for certain matters. In the time Julian had been unconscious, Caleb had received his orders and returned to Fort Westwood. Ethan had overheard some colleagues talking and decided to look at the file, where he found the discrepancies. Julian filtered out most of the details, asking only one question. What was the injury? Surprised by the question, Ethan sighed. An open wound to the neck. Julian froze. Seeing his reaction, Ethan continued. A colleague of mine was in a car accident once, had a similar injury. It caused vocal cord paralysis on one side, a hoarse voice, and occasional tachycardia. Julian nodded, surprisingly calm. You said he went to Fort Westwood? Yes, Ethan confirmed. They have to march back on foot. We don't know the specifics. Okay, a phone. Julian held his hand out to Liam. Liam, shocked by his calmness, took a step back. I think he's the one you've been looking for all this time. Why are you calling him? Your dad's case isn't even closed yet. Owen tossed a phone onto the bed. Do you two really think you're playing Romeo and... Liam snatched the phone back before Owen could finish. Mason cut him off. That's enough, man. Say less. Julian curled his knees to his chest, staring at a fixed point on the wall. I'm just gonna ask him if he packed enough clothes. It gets cold out west, right? The temperature is supposed to drop. Liam's anger deflated. He looked at the equally frustrated expressions on Owen and Mason's faces and waved a dismissive hand. Fine. Let's all go outside. Let Ethan talk to him. Once they were gone, Julian spoke. Ethan. It's just a guess, Ethan sighed. He regretted telling the others, but they were all just trying to protect Julian. One lie was one thing, but if it unraveled a web of deceit that led back to a family feud, it would be a disaster. He knew Julian well enough to know when he was serious. I know, I'll ask him later. Julian buried his face in his hands. His breathing hitched. He tried to calm himself, but a tremor ran through his shoulders and down his spine. How had he not seen it? Caleb's skills, his composure, his nonchalance about certain things, his decisive judgment. Even the expensive cigar he'd smoked at the bar the first time they were together. It wasn't about money. It was the kind of refinement that came from a certain upbringing. And Caleb's silence whenever Julian mentioned Commissioner Grant. He had been suspicious before, but suspicion poisoned everything, so he had pushed the thoughts away, wanting to trust completely, to ignore the details. He had tried to probe to gauge Caleb's reactions, but the man's composure never wavered. "This is between you two," Ethan said, not knowing what else to offer. He tucked the blanket around Julian. "You're a grown man now. You have to take responsibility for your own feelings." "Okay," Julian said. "Where's my mom?" "Victoria's at a meeting. The city is busy with the new airport development project. She'll be back after you get some more rest." Ethan stood up and handed him a plate of sliced fruit. "The guys went to get you some food. Eat this for now." Julian's heart was racing. "Ethan, what is it?" "Take your time." "What about my cousin, Tristan?" "He's being questioned. Just in case this incident was connected to him. It's possible you were the target." Ethan shook his head. "But it's more likely you were just caught in the crossfire. You know, accidents like this are common for guys who patrol the streets every day." "I understand," Julian nodded. "You..." Ethan hesitated. "You really didn't have to go that far for a man." "You're wrong, Ethan. It wasn't just for Caleb. I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions. Who says I can't share some of the responsibility when something like this happens?" Julian took a bite of an apple, then stabbed it with a toothpick. "Besides," he added resentfully, "I did manage to stop the car." After watching countless videos of traffic accidents and admiring so many everyday heroes, he had finally had his own moment. He hadn't wasted 20-odd years of his life building a strong body for nothing. Ethan stared at him. "It's a shame you didn't go to the police academy." "No way. Everyone has their part to play," Julian replied languidly. "My part is to save the world from an overabundance of garlic shrimp scampi." He was already full from the fruit. As Ethan was leaving, Julian called out again. "Hey, Ethan. When can I get out of here?" "First, get over your lovesickness," Ethan said over his shoulder. "Maybe 10 days. The comment made the back of Julian's head throb again. The long, sweltering afternoons of summer were a time for dreams. The plants on the windowsill, except for the single lonely okra stalk, were a lush, almost unnaturally vibrant green. Liam hadn't even returned with food when Julian's phone rang. It was a custom ringtone. It was Caleb. Julian's heart skipped a beat. The training exercise was a 600-kilometer trek. Caleb had specifically requested 2 of the newer transferees to join him to break them in. They were now at the city's outskirts, ready to begin the march with the main unit. He hadn't asked his father why he had been ordered to do this, but Alex was right. Orders were orders. Cinching his tactical belt, Caleb pulled his phone from his breast pocket. The landscape was a desolate expanse of hills, the long line of the platoon snaking ahead. A gust of wind kicked up dust, whipping the large red flag at the front of the column. A ring of grass clippings clung to the edge of his boot. He took a picture of his leg, cropped it into a square, and sent it to Julian via a messaging app. Once they started, there would be little time to talk. He put in his wireless earbud and dialed, his voice low. "How long have you been awake? Feeling any better?" "Much better. Head still hurts a little. I had some apple. Liam's getting me a pepperoni pizza later." Julian licked his lips. "You didn't get hurt, did you?" "No." Caleb's voice was broken up by the wind. "I didn't protect you." He was genuinely afraid Julian had suffered serious head trauma. "Don't blame yourself. It was my choice." Julian wanted to tell him it was about self-reliance, that it was the same principle that drove Caleb and his colleagues to risk their lives on the streets every day. To give everything, even in the face of defeat. Justice could never be destroyed. But his emotions were a tangled mess, and he couldn't find the words. He buried his head in his pillow and whispered, "Caleb, I didn't protect you either. They needed to talk properly when he got back. The thought had taken firm root in his mind. He was bursting with questions but held back, not wanting to distract Caleb from his training. Hey, what if, since I hit my head, what if in the next few days I can't figure some things out and I get all twisted up inside? Message me, Caleb said, kneeling to tie his bootlace. We'll figure it out together. His own heart ached. It's starting to rain here, Julian said. I feel like going out and standing in it. Caleb felt like he was losing his mind. In that moment, he wanted to confess everything, to lay it all out and risk losing it all. He decided then and there that when he returned, he would tell Julian everything face to face and ask for his forgiveness. He didn't know that Julian, hundreds of miles away, had come to the same conclusion. But it was too late. The march is 6 days, then training for 2 weeks. You won't be back until early fall. I wanted you to take me for a ride along the riverfront. Julian heard only the slow, heavy sound of Caleb's breathing on the other end. Why aren't you talking? Caleb could hear the downpour through the phone, a torrential storm accompanied by rumbles of thunder. A few seconds later, it started to rain where he was too, though not as heavily. A soft, gentle drizzle. It's raining here too, Caleb said. I'll stand in it for you. You're an idiot. An asshole. After cursing him out, Julian added in a sly whisper, I don't like drowned rats. Caleb didn't retort. Instead, he said with complete seriousness, Babe, I have to go. Say something nice. The rain was getting heavier, but it wouldn't stop them. Water streamed down his face, his short hair already soaked. The platoon formed a neat double file, waiting for the command to move out. Julian's response was harsh. Nice my ass. Get the hell back here. Caleb, something nice. In your dreams. Julian, having had his say, felt a pang of regret. He rubbed his eyes. Just come home soon? I'll be waiting. Good boy. Caleb couldn't help but laugh. Julian bristled. What are you laughing at? You wanted something nice, didn't you? That was very nice, Caleb said. Good boy. Julian was furious. I'll be waiting to see your head on a platter, he thought, and hung up. He felt dazed. He still couldn't accept it. He had no idea how to even begin to have that conversation with Caleb. It was a time bomb and he didn't know how to defuse it. And he was sure Caleb had more secrets. He'd settle the score when he got back. For now, the thought of Caleb on that grueling march made it impossible for him to confront him. He picked up his phone, wanting to smash it, but couldn't bring himself to do it. He covered his face, cursing his own weakness. He was a lost cause. He felt like he was about to break. To love was to fight tooth and nail, to live and die for each other. Love wasn't about winning or losing. It was about the hopeless entanglement of two souls, an unquenchable fire. To be unable to bear seeing the other suffer, yet madly wanting them to cry for you. 40 kilometers a day for 6 days. Caleb walked in a daze, his grip on the large red flag faltering. They crossed mountain passes, traversed wild forests, and navigated river deltas, moving from civilization to desolate wilderness. The entire unit was exhausted. Caleb's previous unit, a specialized quasi-military force, had done this kind of training before, but his state of mind was completely different now. He remembered when he first arrived in the city, Alex had told him, if you want to make this place your home, you have to love someone here. The advice had hit home, but Caleb felt he had done it in reverse. He'd read somewhere that a home isn't a house, but the sum of all love. The moment Julian got hurt, Ethan, Liam, and the others would have been there. And this training exercise was something Victoria Thorne couldn't touch. Putting the pieces together, Caleb was certain that Ethan had told Julian the truth. before he'd even had a chance to say it himself. A knot of anxiety tightened in his gut. He had expected Julian to rage, to throw a tantrum, to give him hell before melting into his arms. But Julian had been quiet. He had just said, "Come back." It was the 5th day. Caleb's platoon was camped on a mountainside. Each night, 4 men were assigned to the 2-hour watch. Staring out into the vast, empty valley, Caleb thought of home. After his watch, Caleb returned to his sleeping bag, took a few sips of water, and welcomed the sharp, stinging sensation in his throat. It reminded him of fooling around with Julian, who, despite not being light, loved to pin him down, making his breathing quicken, forcing him to wrap his arms tighter around that slim waist. He wished he could take Julian home one day. It was an ancient city, shaped by dynasties, with glazed red tiles and winged eaves. A place where legends were born. He couldn't resist. He dialed Julian's number. It was just after 9 p.m. Not yet lights out. Many were still on patrol. He listened as Julian calmly updated him on his recovery, completely omitting the injury to his eye. Hearing each other's voices after so long, they were both captivated. Caleb was the first to break the spell. "I miss you," he said, his voice rough. "Whoa, Captain." One of the other guys in the tent, Zach, who had come along on the training, started to heckle. The others looked over, nudging each other and grinning at Caleb. "Who is it? Captain on the phone with his girlfriend?" "Yeah. She's heartbroken. Hasn't seen me in 5 days, crying on the phone." As Caleb finished, Julian's voice erupted from the other end. "You're an asshole." The shout sent a jolt of pain through his injured eye, and he let out an involuntary hiss. Caleb heard it and thought he bumped into something. "Don't think just because you're feeling better you can." Suddenly, Caleb's voice cut out. Julian heard the rustle of fabric, the sharp, unified sound of stomping feet, and a cough. Then, a loud, stern male voice. "It's this late and you're still making noise. Whose phone is that? Whoever wants to play, put your shoes on and come play outside with me." Cough. Julian heard Caleb cough once. The man continued to rant for another 10 minutes about how using a phone in the academy would get you demerits, and how they thought they were too old for rules now. The signal was bad, and Julian, holding his breath and pinching his nose to hear better, couldn't make out much of it. "All right," the voice stopped. "Everyone get some rest. We've got another long walk tomorrow." After the man left, Caleb crawled back into his sleeping bag and checked his phone. "Why didn't you hang up?" he asked in a low voice. "Didn't want to," Julian said nonchalantly. "You hang up." "You hang up," Caleb insisted. After the 6-day march, they arrived at their hometown, and the real, fully enclosed training began. For 2 weeks, he would be completely cut off, his phone signal blocked. He had never minded being without a phone before. He could go a month without contact. But things were different now. Riding in the vehicle into the city, Caleb leaned back against the seat and calculated the remaining distance. 10 more minutes until they reached the base. "Maple Sugar, babe. Send me some pictures? I'm about to go in. You might not be able to reach me for the next 2 weeks." A reply came almost instantly. "Behind every great cop." "Is it dangerous?" Caleb stared at the screen for a long 10 seconds, carefully choosing his words. He couldn't say that it was dangerous, though accidents were always a possibility. "Maple Sugar, it's fine. Should be okay. Are you still in pain anywhere?" "Behind every great cop." "No. Maple Sugar, soul food. Behind every great cop." "Is that enough?" "Maple Sugar, it's enough. I'm almost there." It wasn't enough. Not even close. Caleb's fingers slid over the photos, his heart tight and warm. The first was of Julian's hand on the white hospital sheets, a sliver of bright sunlight cupped in his palm. The second was an older one, Julian in a hooded bathrobe, his hair wet, smiling as he tied the belt. His eyes were hidden by his damp bangs, his fingers long and elegant. It reminded Caleb of how those fingers felt on his skin. The third was taken after they had been intimate. Caleb's back was visible in the frame. Julian was lying on his side, only his shoulder showing, marked with purple bruises and red fingerprints. He was raising his hand, making a gun gesture at Caleb's back. The photos were all cropped square, with filters and grain, each one a work of art. Caleb found himself missing his eyes. Maple sugar, do you have one with your eyes? I have to go. Take care of yourself. Wait for me. Behind every great cop. Okay. Behind every great cop. By the way, here's your picture. A moment later, a selfie from Julian appeared. As the image loaded, the transport vehicle slowed to a crawl, entering the base. Captain, Zach, sitting next to him, noticed Caleb's face had gone pale, his eyes shot with red. What's wrong? Caleb wiped his face. Nothing. Who's this? They're hurt bad. Zach took the phone and fell silent. It was a close-up shot. He recognized the eyes, the same ones he'd seen on the captain's wife at the hotel. But in the photo, the eye was dull and lifeless. A fresh, pale scar ran from the eyelid to the outer corner, the skin still pink and raw. A chunk of his long eyelashes was missing. The amber iris stared blankly at the camera, its depths unreadable. Caleb looked at the no service icon in the top left corner of his phone and felt his world go numb. So cruel. He could barely breathe. Was I too cruel? Julian dropped his phone and flopped onto the bed. The newly healed skin around his eye smarted from the impact. Damn it. That hurts. Liam, far from sympathetic, added fuel to the fire. Heartbroken and disfigured. Man, you've got it rough. Not heartbroken. And not disfigured. Julian smacked Liam on the head. He rolled around on the bed for a bit, then furiously ate half a pineapple. He was due to be discharged in a few days, his head mostly clear, though it still ached sometimes after he slept. Victoria had visited, scolding him for being reckless, for getting involved with the wrong kind of people. Julian had listened in silence, accepting it all. Now, curled up in his blankets, he grabbed Liam's hand. He's a cop. How could he lie to me? I'd do a flying kick if you pushed me too far. What's a little lie? I think he planned this from the start. Maybe he was even going to try and kill you to silence you. Liam bit into a pear. It's a blood feud, you know? Like in the novels. I want to punch him right now. Julian made a few stabbing motions. See if he ever dares to lie to me again. How dare he? His anger was delayed, simmering for days before finally boiling over. He regretted sending the photo almost as soon as he'd done it. He put himself in Caleb's shoes. If Caleb had sent him a picture of an injury and then disappeared for 2 weeks, he would have gone insane. Hey, I saw on the news another traffic cop was killed in the next state over. It's too dangerous. You should get out now before you become a high-risk target yourself. I don't want to be picking you up from the hospital every other week. You get me? Liam stuffed a piece of fruit in his mouth. I just don't get it. Why couldn't you find someone like you? Wild and fun. Why don't you say find someone whose preferred thermostat setting matches yours? Julian shot back. Otherwise, he'll want it at 65 and you'll want 75 and you'll freeze to death. How was Caleb not wild? How was he not fun? He was moody and particular. He stood in the sun all day, then came back and took 2 or 3 showers. He insisted on lemon-scented condoms and only wore sandalwood cologne. Liam, a businessman, could never understand low-paying, high-stress jobs, especially for someone from Caleb's background. His dad is the commissioner. Why is he working on the streets? Isn't he tired of standing in traffic all day? The way he acts, you'd think he had a death wish. He does have a death wish, Julian said quietly, his eyes downcast. People are like trees. The more they yearn for the light, the deeper their roots must grow into the darkness. Liam was impressed. Wow. Julian, Nietzsche. Liam, oh. Julian opened a can of soda and set it aside. We're past the honeymoon phase. Now we're in the tragic romance phase. He was afraid. Afraid that if he wasn't careful, their love would become like an appendix. Useless, but potentially fatal if left alone. The thought was unbearable. He grabbed the can and chugged the entire thing, his eyes misting over as he looked at Liam. Liam, feeling for his friend and worried he'd been too harsh, softened his tone. What's up? Maybe I shouldn't have sent him the picture of my eye. He must be so worried. You shouldn't have. Liam squeezed his hand. But he also lied to you for so long. It's different. Julian covered his face. I'm upset, sure, but he's the one who's really suffering, right? 2 weeks. He won't know how my eye is, what I'm doing. Julian was discharged a few days later. Victoria was busy at the office, so he would occasionally stop by to see her. But after a few visits, she seemed reluctant to see him, telling him to stay home and rest his head. Julian, in a bold move, set a picture of Caleb as his phone's lock screen, making sure Victoria saw it often. She always pretended not to notice, but her eyes would flicker, and she often seemed on the verge of saying something. But Julian didn't want to ask. He wanted, if there was an answer, he needed to hear it from Caleb himself. During Caleb's absence, Julian visited the traffic police precinct. Officer Hayes had also sustained minor injuries in the incident and would often visit him with Officer Miller, bringing fruit baskets. Most of the fruit he ate was from the police department. He was their good Samaritan, his hospital room nearly adorned with a commemorative plaque. In return, Julian brought 2 chilled watermelons to the precinct one afternoon, a treat for the officers returning from patrol. The first person through the door was Martinez, his voice preceding him. You won't believe this guy we just picked up, drunk at lunch. He starts singing country music at me. Tears and snot everywhere, and I have to wipe his face. He stopped short when he saw Julian. Hey, you're all better? It's too hot to be out and about, you should be resting. Julian nodded and sent a quick text to Caleb. Your husband in waiting. You missed a spectacular country music performance. Hayes came in next, fanning herself with her police cap. Miller nudged her. Watch your decorum. She quickly put her cap back on, her sharp eyes landing on the watermelons. Wow, those must be heavy. Ma'am, are you all recovered? Did the eye scar? A little, it's fine. Julian felt a blush creep up his neck at the casual ma'am and touched the faint scar that ran from the corner of his eye. You know, it's funny, Hayes said suddenly. The captain has a scar on his eyelid too. Hearing Caleb's name, Julian cleared his throat. Oh, has your captain been in touch? No, isn't he on a business trip? Martinez said, taking a bite of watermelon. Man, I kinda miss him. Julian's head snapped up. Hayes immediately shot Martinez a look. Watch what you say. It's fine, I don't mind, Julian said, sitting down and taking a sip of water. As he drank, Martinez suddenly produced a small bird from behind his back and placed it on the desk. Julian nearly choked, staring at the creature. What is that? A bald eagle fledgling. It's a protected species. Rescued it from the road, no idea where it came from. We called the wildlife center. They're on their way. Martinez started on his watermelon. A moment later, he produced a turtle. Box turtle. Also protected. Probably fell out of a smuggler's truck. We've reported it. Julian reached out and touched the turtle's shell, then sent another text to Caleb. Your husband in waiting. Your precinct is turning into a zoo. After the animals were settled, Julian put an unlit cigarette in his mouth. The bright sunlight streaming through the window made him squint. Weren't you guys investigating Dominic Chan? How's that going? He hadn't thought about it for weeks. Victoria was consumed by the airport project, and Tristan had been cleared of any involvement in his accident. Miller, who had been quiet, spoke up. His finances are in trouble. He's desperate to sell his cars. Julian rubbed his hands together. Who's he selling to? Liam won't buy, Noah won't buy, who's left? At this point, he'd be selling at a loss, Miller said. Hayes frowned. Is Chan really going under this time? On another note, I haven't seen his little sister Lily at school for a while. I was on duty at her elementary school yesterday, and I waited from dismissal until the school closed, but she never came out. Lily hasn't been in school? Julian asked, surprised. The 2 weeks of waiting were torture for Julian. His favorite bar, Peel, had become too popular after he'd gone viral, and he didn't want to bother the busy owner. He usually just found a quiet pub with his friends, ordered a strong dark rum, and praised the comfortable chairs. Hey, what do you guys think of cops? Julian was a little drunk, the scar on his eye itching. Mason grabbed his hand to stop him from scratching. Julian shook him off. Don't touch me, I'm sensitive. Alright, you're a ticking time bomb today, can't even touch you. Mason playfully poked his cheek. He's been gone 2 weeks, and you're really staying faithful? Never seen you so well behaved. Faithful? Hell no. Julian slammed his hand on the table and stood up. Let's go dancing. They moved to the club next door. Julian, in a soft blue t-shirt, led his friends onto the dance floor. The DJ switched to a heavy electronic beat, and Julian closed his eyes, his mind a chaotic blur. Mason followed him onto the floor, grabbing his waist. Are you really drunk? Julian ignored him, moving to a different spot and continuing to dance. The music was deafening, the energy of the crowd infectious. People were on stage, dancing wildly, and Julian joined in the frenzy. Mason couldn't believe it. He was convinced heartbroken people should not be allowed out. He saw Julian lifting his shirt, showing off his abs, and quickly pulled him back. Don't dance so provocatively. Damn it, can we just go home? I didn't bring enough security tonight. Dancing is dancing. Don't tell me how to move, Julian slurred, then looked at him. Why are you touching me? Are you Caleb? He pinched Mason's chin. You're not. Mason, red-faced, took a deep breath. Fine, you dance. I'll be on the side with the guys. Let me know if anyone touches you, and don't take drinks from strangers. Okay? I'm a regular, Julian repeated. He couldn't remember his first time in a club. He, Liam, and Owen had been in middle school. They had spent a month researching how not to look like a newbie at a club, dressed in their best streetwear, and stood awkwardly by the bar with their drinks. Liam had asked him to dance. Julian had shaken his head. Too old, can't dance anymore. We were only 15, Julian murmured, his eyes half closed. Liam was 5'6", I was 5'8", Owen was 5'5", and we hadn't met love yet. Mason's heart ached for him. He took Julian's drink away. That's enough. Let's go home. You're going to dance yourself to pieces. The music swelled again, making conversation impossible. Julian stood his ground and yelled, Mason, I'm here. For God's sake. Mason squeezed through the crowd to his side. Can we go to another place? I'll call Liam. He can come dance with you. Fine. But don't call Liam. He's happy. Don't ruin his night. Julian's voice rose. We're going to the Astoria. The Astoria was a luxury high-rise on the riverfront. The night wind, cool and damp, whipped around Julian as they arrived. Mason's car was parked at the entrance, a 7-seat SUV with a team of bodyguards waiting nervously behind it. Julian found a spot under a tree by the entrance and lit a cigarette. He told them to wait. Just half an hour, Mason said, checking his phone. You've been drinking, you're not dressed warmly, you'll catch a cold. Julian ignored him. Mason. The nickname was rare, and it made Mason uneasy. Yeah. What's up? Julian was crouched on the pavement, leaning against the tree. Do you think he even lied about where he lives? He pulled out his phone and dialed. If I don't reach him tonight, Julian said, I'm just going to hang myself from this tree. The call went straight to a familiar automated voice. The number you have dialed is not in service. The alcohol hit him all at once. He threw his phone, sending it skittering across the pavement. I'm drunk, he gasped. I want to go home. The city was quiet for the next week or so. Julian found himself at the precinct often. He also went by Lily's school a few times, but she was never there. The school said she was on an extended leave of absence. A parent had picked her up. One summer afternoon, in the precinct office, the fan whirring overhead, Julian stared at a photo on the wall. Who's this? Why is he taking a picture with a girl? His injured eye ached from squinting. He stood up and walked closer to the photo, stumbling and knocking over a small potted aloe vera plant. Sorry, he mumbled. It's okay, Hayes said, righting the plant. That's just a reporter who interviewed him. The captain got a little famous on social media for a while there because he's handsome. He never told me, Julian said, his sensitivity on high alert. Hayes, you're not lying to me, are you? He stopped himself. He had to wait for Caleb to come back to ask these questions. No. The whole precinct knows, Hayes insisted. The captain's a good guy, he wouldn't mess around. Julian walked over to the photo and turned it to face the wall. I'm not coming back into this office again, he said through gritted teeth. You can turn it back later. But why'd you do that? Hayes asked, confused. Because I'm not happy, Julian said. I'm not happy because I can't see Caleb. And I'm not happy because he lied to me. He felt rooted to the spot. He remembered the complete trust he'd had in him, believing that if he was faithful, Caleb would be too. All the signs had pointed to him being genuine. But he couldn't convince himself that this was the only lie. As he was stewing in his misery, his new phone rang. The old one had been destroyed, all the photos lost. It was Liam. Oh my God, Julian. What kind of crazy stuff does your ex have going on? I was walking and didn't notice I was a little too close to the crosswalk at a red light, and this yellow pole started spraying water at me. Good thing I dodged it. To stop you from jaywalking? Julian said. And what ex? I never said we broke up. Are you a masochist? If you like guys who treat you like crap, I can introduce you to a few. You know that 5-star discreet hotel? They give you props when you check in, bondage stuff, you can use my card. Julian's eyes widened in fury. What the hell are you and Noah into? And you're telling everyone? Have you no shame? Liam's voice dropped. I wasn't telling everyone. Okay, fine. Anything else? Julian snapped. No. Wait. Liam said to someone else, Noah, your phone's ringing. There was a rustle, and then Julian heard Noah say something. Liam yelled into the phone. Holy shit. Julian. It's Chan. Liam was so agitated he could barely form a sentence. Julian tensed. What about him? He's gonna jump off a building. With his sister. Julian was stunned. Lily? Yeah, whatever her name is. I gotta go, he's at the Dominion Tower. I'm on my way, wait for me. I'll meet you on the ground floor. I'm coming now. Julian sprinted out of the precinct. The Dominion Tower was the same building where Ethan had said another rival had once bought a penthouse. Chan's secret club was also located behind it. You'd have to really hate the residents to choose this place to jump. The trees around the building had grown, obscuring the red-tiled roof. The angel statue at the entrance was covered in dust. Julian screeched to a halt in front of the building just as Liam pulled up behind him. Wait for me, Liam yelled, jumping out of his car. We have to go up. Julian grabbed Liam and pushed through the crowd. Looking up, he could see a figure on the roof. Several police officers were already there, trying to talk to him through a megaphone, but the building was too tall. An inflatable safety cushion was set up on the ground floor, but it was only effective for falls from the 6th floor or lower. This building was over 20 stories high. The impact would be too great. Stay calm. An officer was shouting. Whatever the problem is, we can talk about it. You're young, you have your whole life ahead of you. People in the crowd were murmuring. I thought the guy who was going to jump was some old CEO? He doesn't look 30. Probably went bankrupt. Heard his name is Chan, used to be loaded. So what if you lose your money? You can always make more. Is it worth dying for? Julian frowned. He saw Chan sway on the edge, and a wave of gasps went through the crowd. An officer on the ground was communicating with the rescue team on the roof. His radio turned up loud. Suddenly, the terrified cry of a little girl cut through the air. Julian's blood ran cold. It's Lily. Oh, for God's sake. Why would he bring a little girl with him? The crowd erupted again. Liam, I have to go up. Julian turned and pushed his way towards the entrance. Liam followed, and they both ran to the lobby doors. An officer stopped them. Names? What's your relationship to the man on the roof? Liam blurted out, my name is Gregory. Julian corrected him, it's Gregory. Whatever. I'm Liam, he's Julian, the guy upstairs is Dominic Chan. He's a business rival, we almost got into a fight once. Julian cut him off. We're competitors, but we're also friends. The officer looked at them suspiciously. You're not going up there to push him, are you? It's a love-hate thing. Didn't you see there's a little girl up there? She's like a sister to me. I pick her up from school all the time. Julian saw movement on the roof and shoved past the officer, pulling Liam with him. I'm with the 4th precinct. If you have a problem, talk to my captain. He yelled over his shoulder. Hey, wait. The officer shouted after them, but Liam turned back. Chan's the eldest in his family. Once worth millions, 2 mansions, 3 sports cars, and a pickup. He's a Scorpio with AB blood. We really know him. They were escorted into the elevator by a few officers. Julian's hands were shaking. He pressed the button for the top floor, his voice trembling. Liam, Scorpio? Liam was shaking too. I'm a passionate person. Right, you're a Scorpio. The elevator doors opened. Let's go. On the roof, the wind was strong. Chan turned as they appeared. He was holding Lily tightly, her face red and tear-streaked. She wasn't struggling, just crying silently. The firefighters were holding back, waiting for the right moment to intervene. Chan, once well-built, looked as thin as paper in the wind. Julian approached slowly. Chan, give me Lily. My life is hard enough. What about hers? Chan's voice was hoarse. None of you understand me. Why are you trying to save me? So we can go back to fighting each other in the same circle? I don't want to be that person anymore, but I have to be. Julian saw that Lily was dressed entirely in black. A lump formed in his throat. She's just a child. She's innocent. Give her to me and we can talk about the rest later, okay? It was 6 p.m. Rush hour. The air was hot and heavy. Chan was sweating, his breathing ragged. Julian, why didn't I succeed in poisoning you? You and Liam have it so good. You grew up together, started your careers together. What about me? Who do I have? I came to this city with money, and what did I get? I'm only 27, and I've lost everything. Someone else gets investigated, and I'm the one who pays the price? Why me? You need money to start over? No problem. Ask Liam, he'll lend it to you. At this, Liam stepped forward. Money's not an issue, but a life. A life? Do you know how many car accidents happen every day? I love cars more than anything. It's a shame I won't die in one. A strange smile played on Chan's lips. But someone always dies in a car. That's you, not Lily. Liam, impulsive as ever, started to move towards them. Chan took a step back, turning to face Julian. Julian, you stood in my way when I was alive, and now you're standing in my way when I'm dying. You've worked so hard your whole life to be able to do whatever you want. You have time, you have your life, what are you afraid of? I'm afraid of dying. Chan's eyes were vacant. And I'm afraid of being broke. For me, being broke is worse than death. Then why did you use your money to pay for your employees' medical bills? There was someone I really liked, Chan said slowly. A bodyguard. He was on that bus. The bus that had crashed during the company trip he had organized. Chan's words were like a plastic bag, floating down from the sky and suffocating Julian. He struggled to regain his composure. So you're here to die for love? No, Chan said. He didn't die. As he spoke, Lily, who had calmed down, looked up at Julian. Then you and him. Julian took a small step forward. You had a fight? Liam can help you with that, he's an expert. He made a subtle gesture to Liam behind his back. A fight? I'm telling you, relationships need a little drama to be interesting. But Liam lunged forward. Hurting yourself is not okay. We didn't fight. He wasn't interested. He played me. Chan's smile was unsettling. Julian pulled out a pack of cigarettes. Liam took another step. Julian moved with him, getting closer. Julian began, deciding to share his own story, not caring who was listening. My boyfriend, at first, he wasn't exactly genuine with me either. Chan's eyes followed the cigarette pack. What brand? Marlboro Gold. Julian took one out and held it out to him with a smile. Someone at your club used to smoke these, right? Take it. Chan, surprised by the direct approach, took a step back, causing Lily to cry out. In that instant, Julian lunged, grabbing Lily's arm and pulling her dress, wrenching her away from Chan. Brother. The little girl whimpered, unsure who she was calling for. As soon as Julian had her, Chan let go. Julian stumbled back, falling onto the rooftop, his arms scraping against the rough surface. Liam rushed forward, took Lily from him, and handed her to a firefighter, then knelt to pull Julian back. Are you trying to get yourself killed? Julian ignored him, looking up to see Chan standing alone, a twisted smile on his face. Wow, my sister is so young, and already someone is willing to die for her. Julian, what if I had pulled you down with me? What would have happened? Julian laughed, a hollow sound. Just another rainy day. Same for you. Are you really with that cop? Chan's topic shifted abruptly. I was wondering why my club kept getting raided. Last time it was because you had inside information and reported me, right? It was you. You wanted revenge all along. What raid? Julian was confused. He had looked into Chan's activities, but only because his family had started meddling in transportation and aviation, and his focus had been limited to illegal street racing. Still pretending? I'm about to die, Chan said, rolling up his sleeves. My life has been too easy. I want my death to be difficult. A fall from this height, smashed to pieces. Not something everyone can do. Lily was safely downstairs. Only Julian, Liam, Chan, and the rescue workers remained on the roof. I was abandoned by my family, rejected by the person I love. What's the point? Chan murmured, turning around. He spread his arms wide, and a fresh wave of screams came from the crowd below. Fine, Julian took a deep breath. My dad. He died in a car accident a few years ago. The whole city knew, the whole country knew. I didn't believe it was an accident, so I investigated. I found the lead officer on the case. Jules, Liam said, grabbing his arm. Don't. I followed him to his house, but I was stopped by a stranger, and that was the end of it. I came back to the city, heartbroken, and decided to turn my life around to make my parents proud. Julian's eyes stung, tears welling up, but he refused to wipe them away. 2 years later, I met the man I thought was the love of my life. Liam held his hand. Jules, we were together for 6 months. He loved me too. Julian saw that Chan was listening intently. And now, someone is telling me he's the son of that lead officer. He's the man I could never find. Julian was losing his composure. I loved him so much, and he loved me. But now someone is telling me his father might be the man who killed my father. A blood feud. He's not. Liam's words were useless. Just calm down. Let's not talk about that here. No one can prove he's not, Julian repeated, the scar on his eye seeming to tear open again. He unleashed all the anger and pain he had suppressed for days. The shouting seemed to help. Liam cupped his face. Wait for Caleb to come back. Let him explain, okay? Don't cry now, the wind is too strong. I'm not crying, Julian said through gritted teeth, his eyes red. I'm just in so much pain. I hate that I can't let him go. Chan started to laugh. Julian, this is fate. It's my fate to die, and none of you can stop me today. Get down here, you bastard. Julian took a step onto the ledge, now only a few feet away from Chan. For the first time, he saw the city in daylight from this height. The sunlight reflecting off the glass buildings, the clouds floating in the gray sky. It was beautiful in a way. All right, by your logic, I have nothing to live for either. Julian tried to sound casual, but his legs were weak. He slowly stood up straight. You're so tough. You jumped today, and the first person you see in hell will be me. Chan backed away, stunned. What the hell is wrong with you? Jules, what are you doing? Liam was frozen, watching in horror as the two of them seemed to be competing to see who would jump first. He heard an officer's angry voice through a nearby radio. What's going on up there? Why are there two of them now? Let me through. I'm going up. It was Mason's voice on the radio, but the police weren't letting anyone else up. Liam knew that Julian was probably just trying to shock Chan into coming back, but he was terrified. What if Chan, in a moment of madness, pulled Julian down with him? He heard a familiar voice through the radio. I'm his boyfriend. A minute later, a familiar figure appeared at the rooftop entrance. Julian. At the sound of that voice, Julian froze and turned. It was Caleb. In that moment, everything was a blur. He was on top of a skyscraper, standing on the edge with a former enemy, his best friend watching, looking at the first man he had ever truly loved, and possibly the last. He saw his Caleb, in a plain white t-shirt, a bloody bandage on his elbow, a tactical belt around his waist. Still wearing his training pants and boots, the soles caked with mud and grass. He was supposed to be gone for a few more days. Why was he back early? 1,000 questions swirled in his mind. But he knew one thing for sure. He believed Caleb loved him, just as he loved Caleb. I'm back. Caleb was only a few steps from the ledge. Don't come any closer. Julian saw the fear in Caleb's eyes as he said it. He was terrified Caleb would rush forward and all three of them would fall. I'm late, I know. I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Just come down, please. Caleb was tanned, his skin glowing in the harsh sunlight. He looked up, his eyes clearer than Julian had ever seen them. I can get down myself. Just don't panic. Liam, unable to stand their misaligned conversation, yelled at Caleb. It's Chan who wants to jump. Julian saved his sister and then got up there himself. Are you two going to stand here and have a heart-to-heart? Get him down. I was impulsive, Julian said, looking away from Caleb. I'm not that noble. I just wanted to give Chan one more chance. They had been friends once, for a brief, shining moment, before the jealousy and scheming had torn them apart. But in the face of death, all of that seemed so small. I told you, I'm waiting for a sign, Chan said. When the sunset hits that building, I'll jump. He pointed to a distant skyscraper. He was sitting on the edge, his legs dangling over the abyss. Caleb remembered the night he and Julian got together. Julian had sat on a ledge just like that, a thrill-seeker with a love for high places. Chan lit a cigarette. Julian, tell my dad to find a new wife, have another kid. I'm not going to make it. Julian laughed bitterly. When your dad gets out, you can tell him yourself. Liam was confused. Chan's family? His dad? Then he remembered. Someone's father had been sentenced to 6 years. No parole. Julian, Caleb's voice was sharp. Get down now. Whatever you have to say it to my face. Don't play games with your life. Julian turned back to him. Who's playing games? I'm just standing here. The raw emotion in Caleb's voice was something Julian had never heard before. Is your eye better? Did your eye heal and your brain break? You sent me that picture and I've been terrified for 2 weeks. And now you're doing this to punish me? At that, Julian stood up straight. Caleb, tell me the truth right now. Is Commissioner Grant your father? Yes. The word was like a thunderclap in Julian's mind. 2 years ago at your family's house, was that you who stopped me? Yes. Julian's eyes were red. The Astoria, was that a lie to trick me? Caleb's answer was a strained yes. That your dad was some local hero, that no one in the city knew who I was. Was that all bullshit you made up to fool me? Yes. Caleb got the words out in a rush, his chest tight. He stared at Julian, the bandage on his arm throbbing. Liam was speechless. What was happening? I can also tell you, Caleb's gaze was sharp, that I deliberately scheduled myself to work on New Year's Eve. I stood out there all night just to get your attention. I wanted you. Do you understand? You. Julian was stunned. Then he started to laugh, a broken, desperate sound. You abused your power. You bastard. I am a bastard. Caleb roared. I saw your picture 2 years ago. When I stopped you at my house, I was waiting for you. I set a trap for you, and you fucking fell right into it. You fell into my arms. You son of a bitch. You were lying to me from the very beginning. Julian was furious, but he also wanted to laugh at the sheer absurdity of it all. He had never wanted a clingy, dramatic love affair, but here he was, living one. All the little details he had ignored now seemed monumental. He still had one more question. What about your dad and my dad? Just come here, please. Caleb took a step forward. Fine. Julian knew he had pushed it far enough. Seeing the fear in Caleb's eyes made his own heart ache. He slowly crouched down and said to Chan, "Don't jump today. Come down with me. You really want to save me?" Chan looked at the horizon. "Are you sure?" "Julian has done more than enough for you," Caleb said. "Lily is waiting for you downstairs." "Lily? You know me so well," Chan laughed. "Officer, tell me, who does Alex work for?" "Mine," Caleb said, knowing his father had been planning to replace him anyway. "You've been under surveillance for a long time." "Alex?" Julian's eyes widened. "The police are so clever at managing conflict." Chan rambled. "Everyone who makes me unhappy has to die. They should all die. Why am I here while they're at home drinking wine with their lovers? This is his building. I'll jump from here." "Chan," Julian said through gritted teeth, "your death won't change anything." A few seconds later, the sunset intensified, the clouds turning a blood red. Chan, as if he'd been waiting for this, spoke. "Julian." "Yeah." Julian had started to inch back from the edge. Chan took a step back as if preparing to run. He smiled. "Kindness will get you killed, you know that?" As the words left his mouth, Caleb lunged onto the ledge, tackling Julian to the ground. In the same instant, Julian felt a sharp pain as his head hit Caleb's arm. They fell together, and from below came the sickening thud of a body hitting the pavement. The sound of sirens and screams filled the air. He jumped. Liam scrambled onto the ledge, his face pale. "Julian, he really jumped. Damn it. He tried to pull you with him when he went." Julian hadn't even realized. The rescue workers rushed to the edge, their radios crackling with the chaotic sounds from the street below. "He's dead. He must be in pieces." He got a running start, landed across the street. So much blood. Julian's mind was blank. He was pinned under Caleb, struggling to breathe. Caleb didn't move, his body tense, sweat beading on his forehead. "He didn't get you," he repeated over and over. "You're safe, Caleb." Julian's voice was weak. He turned his head and nuzzled Caleb's ear, his body trembling. "He's gone. Don't be scared. I'm okay. Let's move back a little. Your leg is hanging over the edge." In his haste, Caleb had misjudged the force of his tackle. Most of their bodies were on the roof, but his leg was dangling over the 20-story drop. For the first time, Julian understood how fragile life was. Caleb slowly pushed himself up, shoving Julian further onto the roof. Firefighters swarmed onto the ledge, pulling them both to safety. The tension of the last few minutes caused Caleb's old injury to flare up. His throat seized, and he collapsed against a concrete pillar, coughing violently. Julian ran to his side. "What's wrong? Can you talk?" Caleb shook his head, continuing to cough until Julian pulled him into an embrace. "Breathe. Just breathe," Julian soothed, helping him to the rooftop entrance and getting him a bottle of water. As Caleb drank, Julian looked at the bandage on his arm, wondering what kind of hell he had endured for the past 2 weeks. To shorten a 3-month mission to 2 weeks, to endure intensified training, only to rush back and find Julian on a rooftop. Julian, forgetting his pride, gently rubbed Caleb's back and whispered an apology. At those words, Caleb looked up. This wasn't something Julian should be saying. Wrong is wrong. You taught me that," Julian said, his eyes downcast. "I was wrong to make you worry." He saw Caleb open his mouth to speak, but the hoarseness of his voice sent a shiver down Julian's spine. He quickly put a finger to Caleb's lips. "We'll talk about the rest later." Caleb's forehead was slick with sweat. Julian lifted the hem of his shirt and gently wiped it away, his usual fastidiousness gone. He just wanted his heart to slow down. It felt like they were meeting for the first time, clumsy and desperate to hold on to each other. "Julian, come here," Caleb said. Julian shuffled forward on his knees and was pulled into a fierce hug. "It's okay," Caleb whispered, his hand on the back of Julian's head. It wasn't clear if he was comforting Julian or himself. "I used to hate that you were always risking your life for something," Caleb's voice was strained. "Now I know how you feel." "Yeah, every life is the same," Julian leaned against his shoulder, still trembling. "You taught me that too." The chaos of the day finally subsided. They gave their statements at the police station. When they finally left, it was late. Their friends were waiting, phones in hand. "You're done for," Mason yelled. "Victoria wants to video chat." The call with his mother was an ordeal. Julian felt a wave of guilt. In his recklessness, he hadn't thought of her at all. He could never say to her, "Mom, have another kid. I'm not going to make it." He couldn't understand how Chan had said those words. His gaze drifted back to the dark stain on the pavement. Caleb saw him looking and covered his eyes with his hand. "You're in for it when we get home," Julian muttered, turning to look out the window, his ears burning. Caleb's voice was slow, a quiet threat. "You too. You were very naughty." Julian's thoughts drifted. He looked at the deep red stain on the street, at the workers scrubbing the pavement. Chan had been terrified by his own fate. Not long ago, one of his street racing crew had fallen to his death from a building while drunk. And now, their leader had ended his short, spectacular life in the same way. As they drove away, Julian looked back at the spot and felt a pang of sorrow. So much potential, now just a mess. He wondered if Chan had regretted it in those last few seconds. What had eclipsed his hope? Every second of every day, someone in the world was in free fall. Back in the car, a sleek black SUV with a driver, the pretense was over. "So direct now? No more games?" Julian taunted. "Mister, big shot, so low-key with just one driver. Can you afford that on $3,000 a month?" "Fine, you win today," Caleb's voice was still rough. "Say what you want. And to think I was saving up for you, worried you couldn't afford to marry me," Julian grumbled. Caleb fastened his seatbelt. "Don't worry about that. I have enough. 5-star hotels whenever you want. And I'm getting a bonus for bravery next month. You get half." He leaned over to fasten Julian's seatbelt. Julian tried to push him away, blushing, but Caleb whispered in his ear, "Does this mean you forgive me?" "Who the hell forgave you?" "Trusting you doesn't mean forgiving you," Julian said fiercely. "You think I'm that easy to win over? That easy to fool? You can rent a house, you can rent a car, but you can't rent me." "I know," Caleb coughed, starting the engine. "We'll talk about it. I'll explain everything." "No, we're talking now." Caleb changed the subject. "You really like high places, don't you? Your secret hideout, the place where we got together. There has to be a reason. You figured me out." "I think it's a sickness," Julian admitted. "I get a rush from heights. I get impulsive. Things I should and shouldn't say, things I should and shouldn't do, they all just come pouring out." "When you were up there, did you think of me?" Caleb's question sobered Julian instantly. The car slowed, and Caleb pulled over, turning on the hazard lights. "I did," Julian said, his voice barely audible. It was more than thinking. The impulsiveness was because of him, the recklessness was because of him. "I know I was wrong. But if I hadn't caught you today," Caleb's voice was tight, "do you understand what would have happened? If you had fallen, it wouldn't just be your family who would be destroyed. It would be me too." His fingers, calloused and rough from the training, gently traced the scar by Julian's eye. "All this time, I've been the one in control of our relationship. Sometimes, I even wanted to see you cry for me. But today, when you were standing up there, I realized I can't control you at all. Your dad is the commissioner, I get it, Julian said. They sent you here for a reason. It was classified, right? Yes. So you lied to me because you couldn't reveal your identity. Is that a good enough excuse? During my training, Caleb said, I earned the right to officially become a police officer. From now on, I am who I am and I earned it myself. My family, in exchange for that, what really happened 2 years ago? Julian interrupted. Tell me. The car was dark and silent. Julian lit a cigarette, the night wind whipping through the open window. Finally, Caleb spoke, his voice hoarse. It was an accident. Those 3 words, the answer Julian had been seeking for years, now sounded hollow and uncertain. He grabbed the seat back, his voice strained. I don't believe it was a coincidence. On the way to be questioned on that newly built bridge, your cigarette, Caleb said, his eyes fixed on him. You're burning your hand. Julian ignored him. Why did you stop me 2 years ago? Can you prove it with just 3 words? You're his son, of course you'd. In a flash, Caleb lunged across the console, grabbing Julian's shoulder and snatching the cigarette from his hand. The glowing ember was a bright spot in the darkness, until Caleb pressed it against his own collarbone, extinguishing it against his skin. Are you insane? You're going to self-harm now? Julian watched in horror, reaching for him, but Caleb pulled away. Does it hurt? Does your heart hurt? My hands were dislocated during training, I was bleeding, but none of that hurt as much as seeing your eye. I went through hell to get a chance to tell you the truth, and you accuse me of covering for him? That's not it. Julian yelled, his eyes hot with tears. My dad was a good man. How could it be an accident? Accidents happen every day. My job is to try and keep them away from you. Caleb was leaning back in his seat, the burn on his collarbone throbbing. He took Julian's hand and placed it over the fresh wound. Julian, he said wearily, cry for me. Before the words were even fully out of his mouth, Julian was crying. Uncontrollable sobs racked his body. He cursed himself, trying to hold them back, but in front of Caleb, he was completely vulnerable. The car was dark, but Caleb could see the tears glistening on his cheeks. He closed his eyes. Whatever you're feeling, hit me, beat me until you're satisfied, and then we can talk. Just don't stop believing in me, and that will fix everything? What was that with the cigarette? You think you're the only one who can self-harm? Julian, enraged, reached for the pack again. Caleb grabbed for it, and in the struggle, the lighter fell into the back seat. Julian's eyes were still wet as he cursed, you have a scar, I'll have a scar, we'll be even, and then no one can blame anyone. He let out a sob, and his next word was silenced by Caleb's mouth on his. The kiss was urgent and hot, fueled by desperation and pain. It was a frenzied clash of teeth and tongues, a raw, chaotic expression of all their pent-up emotions. In that moment, all of Julian's anger dissolved, and he surrendered to the overwhelming need to be consumed, to be shattered and remade. Later that night, Julian's lips found the fresh burn on Caleb's neck. You had your eye on me from the beginning, and you pretended otherwise? He murmured against his skin. Talking about making $1 million a month, you're quite the talker. Well, Caleb winced as Julian's teeth grazed the sensitive skin. I make $3 grand a month now, and I have to support you. I don't need you to support me, Julian said. Just take care of yourself. Save the money on medical bills. I'll handle the home, you handle the world, Caleb smiled. We can buy a house soon. Who wants to buy a house with you? Handle the home, Caleb repeated, biting his earlobe. Understand? I'm tired, Julian said. his face flushing as he anticipated what was coming next. "Drive. We need to get some burn cream. We're not doing anything until that scar is healed." Caleb played dumb. "Doing what?" "Fucking me," Julian said bluntly. "Whatever you want to call it. Which one do you prefer?" He realized then that his own self-control was gone when it came to Caleb. "Julian," Caleb said suddenly. "What?" "From now on, trust me unconditionally. I promise, no more secrets, no more lies." The confession made Julian's heart ache. "What's your guarantee?" "I'll give you everything I have," Caleb said. "With the same reverence I have for this uniform, I will love you and respect you." Julian remembered the man who had saluted him in the city square. His throat was tight. "And your courage, your integrity, your fairness, setting everything else aside," Caleb said. "I can't be fair." Julian was stunned. Caleb took his hand and brought it to his lips, pressing a soft kiss against his knuckles. "I will always be biased towards you." Julian squeezed his hand, a wry smile on his face. "My problem now. I guess you're lucky." Exhausted from the day's events, they got a hotel room and collapsed onto the bed. When Caleb came out of the shower, Julian was already asleep. He gently changed his clothes and wiped him down with a warm towel. The hotel air conditioning was cold, so he massaged scented oil into Julian's back to keep his skin from drying out. It was after midnight when he finally lay down. He turned to look at Julian's sleeping form and sighed. He was about to move closer when Julian rolled over and draped an arm around his neck, snuggling against him. The scent of rose oil was calming, and soon, Caleb too was fast asleep.